Hello. It's pretty easy once again, right? The last video was more like us playing catch up, right? And now let's try to get ahead of it, right? So let's get to the slides. So it's good what is happening to the programming sector, right? This one here is something that I saw coming and was expected, right? And it's gonna get even better from now. They say there's a leap after every 2 months. Right? Well, again, we gotta insist because they try to disassociate Egypt with Africa, right? That stolen land with Africa, but we gotta keep reminding them that matter of fact we are still living that culture. Okay, we cannot just take it away. Right? So there is that news, right? And there's this news, right? For those who don't understand the words in green above, right? More like the big old national lab for agriculture, right? And the two projects that I heard that you wanna do, right? The first thing that, in my opinion, should be important is first of all seed bank, right? And then followed by that processing of our own seeds, right, for our own lands, right, and for those who want to do their research work, right, it's a service kind of, right, so it's a big deal. And this was today, if I'm not mistaken, right? Again, we cannot let these people forget this is July 7, 2025, right? And like I said, ancestors from northern Africa, right? So even those from that region, their fathers came from North Africa, right? That whole Congo situation, right? That's why we have Bantus in Ghana, in Nigeria, right? Because it was an expansion, right? And I think I made a video a long time ago about this, right? But generally, they pulled the pincer movement, right? They pushed us from south heading north, and of course, they went far north, pushing us upwards, right? Completing an encirclement, but gladly it did not pan out, right? Things are happening. Things happened, right? Now, for those who want to know the real world, this is the real world, right? The people who run the world think like this. They think that they can dictate, the phrase that a person I heard use is say they're running countries like their companies, you know. This is so inappropriate in so many levels. I can't even, But again, we at one point we have to learn to basically ignore idiotic ideologies. I mean, come on, guys, right? This is an emerging problem, right? An emerging problem, right? And I've not seen enough people putting their heads to it, right? They have just mainly focused on, right, the protection of the battery within the system. But again, when it comes to usage, it's a wild west. That's what they say, right? What do you mean chemical substance? I think somebody should follow up on this. Right? Here he is. So that means that at one point Christians signed off on whatever they were doing. Is that the case? Right? Because what we are seeing now, we are horrified by it. But my guy here is saying, nah, actually, the Christians are actually worst. Oh, really? Or are you trying to deflect responsibility and whatnot? What we have seen is what we have seen. We are not interested in narratives, right? We are rather focused on what is, regardless of the motivations and whatnot, right? That's why he can't come out here and say that I am doing this for my own protection and the protection of my people. No, that won't fly anymore. It does not fly. It never flew. Okay? Again, eh? If not Israel, then in my opinion, Trump is focused more on Africa, right? And matter of fact, I think he's focused more on Africa than Israel. I'm just saying, you need to check the records, right? If I'm wrong, please somebody fact check me. But I'm quite sure since the beginning, right? He came in hot, right? He came in with the Haitians eating cats, criminals that broke out of jail from the Congo that flooded that flooded the U.S. And this was the election time, eh? Somebody should be paying attention. Somebody should be paying attention. Why is he trying to prostitute himself to Africans, right? Why is it? Right? Most people won't look. The records, let the records show, right? Look at the meetings that Trump has had since he got the presidency. Africa on one side, the other parts of the world on the other side. And I tell you, he has talked more about Africans in general than any other group. Literally. Right? It's crazy out there, right? It's crazy out there. But the earthquakes and the subsequent, is that the word? Subsequent tsunamis. I heard that you are prepared, right? But again, these things will pass. Right? Those things will pass. It's the other side that should be worried about. Right? This is another phenomenon that I've heard so many times. Right? These are not. This is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. Right? This is what I'm talking about. They are people, humans, right? Intact, with no compromise, anything. Right? They're just normal people, and then there are animals, and then there are people who do things like this, right? You work hard, you train day and night, you can't even hear properly, firing weapons, and the best target you could find is a small child. Are you freaking serious right now? And this is like a thing, like I think they have a score, like the Ukrainians. I don't think I've told you about this. Apparently the Ukrainians are playing video games out there, right? That's how they make the war tolerable, right? They make a video game out of it, right? So basically they have put points, right? People have the lowest point, and then there are equipments and it's a ranking point. Basically, they reward you according to your damage, right? And they have a whole system running, and they have upgrades. It's if you know anything about first-person shooter games and how they reward you with perks after gaining experience, they give you upgrades, and it's literally the Ukrainians are doing this, right? Like, I mean, at one point we gotta agree, like, this is crazy. War in 2025 is literally out of pocket, literally out of pocket, unwanted, unnecessary. Nobody is with that war. Don't get me wrong, there are some few idiots that are with it, but nobody that I know is interested in waging war against nobody. But again, here we are, right? Now even your fellow Europeans are throwing you under the bus, you know? Trump done got the indigenous peoples out here, right? Just talking nonsense, putting bounties on people, right? And here this Nazi lookalike talk about he is gonna halt exports of weapons to really. If there isn't any retaliation, maybe a regime change push or something, I'm quite, again, like Lamy, right? That backsliding guy, right? At least the Europeans are selling drones and stuff, you know? At least the industries are keeping people employed, right? They want to temporarily halt the construction, right? So they are planning to proceed down the line, right? They are, I don't know, looking for, I don't know. I mean, the things that people come up with these days, it's not even funny, you know? It's not. Yeah. So this is the last piece of news that I have, right, pertaining to the whole Sudani situation. Well, the truth will come out, you know. I reserve my opinions on the whole Sudani situation, right? All I can say for a fact is we, the melanated people, have suffered a lot from the so-called people who regard themselves to be more Arab than black, right? The mixed race problem, right? When it's convenient, right? And in this case, both of these groups, right, they associated themselves more and more with the Arabs than with the Africans, right? So, you know, I mean, I can sit here and say, okay, these two grasshoppers are fighting and I am a crow. It doesn't matter who wins, and nobody gets to live, right? They both get eaten, right? They both get eaten, right? So it is preposterous, right? Since the beginning, this whole thing was preposterous, right? It was about power. It was about power, right? And now it has evolved to some, I don't know, jihadists and whatever, right? And the official narrative, we say it was carrying mercenaries and stuff, you know. How do we confirm that? How do we know that it was carrying mercenaries? I guess we can find out, can we? But again, that's a madness, right? That's a madness. Talk about Sudan, something ridiculous happens in Sudan. Yeah. Great. I hope they figure it out, right? I hope they figure it out before it's too late for the both of them. But anyway, let me put a pin on it right there. Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.